Hi everyone! In this video, I will be going over the Codeforces problem shooting. So I'm going to begin by summarizing what the problem is asking us. We're given n cans numbered 1 to n from left to right. Each can has a durability. The cost it takes to shoot down a can is given by this formula. So the formula is the durability of the can multiplied by the number of cans that have already been knocked down plus 1. And so Vasya wants to knock down every single can exactly once to finish an exercise. And we want to do this in the minimum number of shots required. So let's look at the first test case so we can better understand what this problem is asking for. So we're given 3 cans with durabilities 20, 10, and 20. So here, the cost it would take to knock down the first can would be 20, which is the durability of the first can, times the number of cans we've already knocked down, which in this case is 0, plus 1. And so it would be 1. And so if we were to continue to knock down the cans in the order they're given, so this can, then this can, then this can, we would ultimately get a total cost of 53. So for can 2, the cost would be 10, which is its durability, times 1, which is the number of cans that have already been knocked down, plus 1, so that would be 11. And then for can 3, it would be its durability, 20, times the number of cans that have already been knocked down, 2 plus 1, so it would be 41. And we would get a total cost of 53. And so this is not the minimal cost we can get. And so we actually discovered that the minimal cost is given if we go in the order of first knocking down the first can, then the third can, then the second can. So let's go over that. So if we were to knock down the third can after the first can, the durability would be 20. The number of cans knocked down so far would be 1. And then we would add 1, so we would get a cost of 21 for this can. And then if we were to do can 2, the durability is 10 times 2, the number of cans that have not been knocked down so far, plus 1. So then we would get 21. And so then we would get our minimal cost, or like the minimum number of shootings, which is 43. And so here you can notice by this example that it always seems optimal to knock down the cans with the highest durability first. And the reason why is because if we wait for a later time to knock down a can with a higher durability, then it will cost more than if we were to knock down that highest durability can from the beginning. Because with each new can we knock down, this goes up. The number of cans we've knocked down goes up. And so because of this, we should always knock down the highest cans first so then we can ultimately get a minimal cost at the end. And so with that, we already have our approach to finding the total cost. We just need to sort the cans from greatest to least. However, there's one thing we aren't accounting for. And if we go back to the problem, we notice that the output is not just the cost, but we also need to include the position in which the cans must be knocked down by. And so because of this, we also need to keep track of position. So when we're sorting by durability, we don't want to just sort the durabilities, we also want to sort the positions along with them. And so because of this, this is a perfect situation for us to use structs. We're given 2 characteristics here, the durability and the position. And we can just sort by the durability from greatest to least, and then the positions will be sorted accordingly. And so with that, let's go on to the code for the solution. I'm going to be going over the code for this problem now. So again, as we already discussed, we want to have a struct, and let me call it can, and we want to store 2 things about a can. We want to store its durability and its position. So I'm going to create 2 variables. I'm going to create an integer dur, which represents the durability, and I'm also going to create an integer pos, which represents the position. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an integer n for the number of cans, and I'll create an array of cans, and then I'll input everything in. Notice that I am inning the durabilities of each of the cans in the array. So I'm doing .dur to represent that. So the next thing I want to do is we also want to set the position for each of the elements. So I'm going to do array of I dot position is going to be equal to I plus 1. Because for the first can, it would be 1. For the second can, it'd be 2, and so on. And so that corresponds with I plus 1. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to sort from greatest to least by durability. So let me write the sort function. So I would do sort array plus n, because there's n elements in the array. And then I also want to have my Boolean comparator function. So let me write that here. So bool compare. And so this time we're comparing two cans in our array. So I would do can A, can B. And so within this Boolean function, again, if we want A to be placed before B, then we would return true. And we want can A to be placed before can B if its durability is higher. So we can just do if A dot dir is greater than B dot dir, then we would return true. Otherwise, we'll return false. And so that concludes our Boolean compare function. And so I'm just going to add it as a third argument to the sort function. Okay, so the next thing we're going to calculate is the total number of shots. So like basically the overall cost, which is the first thing we're printing out. So let me just create a variable that represents the total shots, and I'll set that to 0. And then we're just going to iterate through the sorted list. And so we're just going to add on to total shots the formula. So the durability of each can times the number of cans we've already shot down plus 1. So in that case, we would do total shots plus equals array of I dot dir times I plus 1. And so this represents the durability of each can, and then I would just represent the number of cans we've already shot down, because it starts off at 0 and then it increases by 1 each time. And so at the end, we'll just see out total shots, end line. Okay, so the last thing we want to do is that we want to print out each of the positions of the cans. And to do this, we'll just iterate through the sorted list and we'll print out array of I dot position. And so that concludes the code for this problem. And again, remember, one thing is that whenever we use the sort function, you must have #include algorithm, so make sure you have that in your code. And so finally, the time complexity of this would be O of n log n, because we're sorting and sorting takes O of n log n time. And the only thing we're doing besides that is we're iterating through from 0 to n in for loops, and that takes O of n time.